And we're live. Hurrah! Where's my cheering? Why don't I have cheering? God dog it. Yay! Yay! That's
what is up, beautiful people? It's Wolf Brother Mythos.
And I am the Freak, and welcome to this UK special edition live stream with special guest and amazing Mythos.
Oh, I thought you were letting.
Oh my God!
I thought you were letting him introduce himself.
No, you always introduce our kid.
You know what, guys? Welcome our amazing, our incredibly knowledgeable and sophisticatedly dapper guest. It is the Restless Kaiser from Modeling for Advantage.
Why is he here? He's just
how many times can I do that before it starts to get on your nerves?
It's already on my nerves.
Not you. Oh. You don't count.
Damn it.
It's a bit of an ongoing thing with a lot of the guys that I work with. I live in the South, but I'm from the North. Maybe the accent isn't so obvious to you, but they've started to say advantage rather than advantage, which is how some of them say it. And if you watch like three videos in a row with the same guy, they might like advantage, and they're like, you did it to me again.
Yeah, see, in the South, it'd be like modeling for advantage. Get her done.
Anyways, you mentioning, and I of course I love watching, and I'm friends with several northern British YouTubers, and for us, unsophisticated Americans, and a UK accent's a UK accent for most cases. We're like, oh, that person's from the UK.
Right.
And so it doesn't register to us how different it sounds unless I reference mentally Doctor Who. And it's like, but why have you got a northern accent? Well, every planet's got a north,
Fact. Although it's inverted in yours. In England, obviously, the perception is the northerners. We're all a bit pat and mick up there. We're all a bit dumb. Whereas the Southerners are a bit more sophisticated, you see. But in the States, of course, you got that deep South where they talk real slow.
That's actually a really good accent. That's actually really
good. You kind of sound like my cousin Bubba.
It's the scratching while you're doing it that makes that work.
Exactly. Hey, let me tell you something. I got this hitch down here. I can't figure where it's coming from, but dang, I tried to get Bailey to look at it. She won't look at it for nothing. She said, just get away from me.
Well, before this turns from a UK special to a Mississippi special, let's catch up with this fine chat here, and then we'll learn a little bit about our guest.
Hello.
So we've got the Pale Orc here. We've got Have No Fear. Y-Bird is here. Good morning, my brothers.
Hello.
I'm seeing mini
there. Let's see. We've got Bafnet. Good morning, my brother. Of course, our amazing guest, the Restless Kaiser, has already started chatting away with the chat here. We've got Dave. Welcome to the special Spain live stream. I appreciate that. Also, he left one comment in Spanish. I'm going to let you read that, Freak, because...
How far up was it? Oh, it says he has family over there.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Over here. I guess over here. Family over here. ¿Tienes familia aquí? ¿O familia en Inglaterra?
Gamecraft Jag says the reveal stream was something special. Mini Warmut says, I am pumped. What a great day to paint. I think all of us that tuned into Warhammer today and saw the announcements, we're all really hyped. James Meeks. Good morning, my brother. I think you have a special way you want to say good morning to Meeks, Freak.
Meeks, clap them cheeks.
There we go.
Where's Zane when we need him? I mean, what happened? Did he? What happened?
Midlands is the best from Bafnet.
I
Missed the start watching the 9th box reveal vid. Who is everyone? So, of course, you have freaking myself, and then our guest is the amazing Restless Kaiser from the channel Modeling for Advantage. The people in northern England talk slow like cows mooing, and people in the south with Cockney accents talk like chickens. Lots of clucking sounds during speech. Oh. That was me reading a comment, by the way. That's not a personal opinion. I'm just reading the comment.
Doesn't particularly educated to me.
Right. You start sounding like an orc, bae.
Speaking of locality and region, Ian M says hello, fellow townie, modeling for advantage from our brother Dabunka.
Oi, mate.
Wybird is you're seeing Wybird in the chat there, freak. Wybird is a transplant. He's from our neck of the woods. Well, I mean, the U.S. in general, but he is over in the U.K. right now.
Very nice, very nice. Wybird, thanks for hanging out with us, man. Agradecido.
Big D says Zane was eaten by bears.
I think that's what everybody was hoping.
That's a shame. I like that guy.
I like Zane. I do. It was a pain. Zane was a pain. He's insane. Maybe lives in Maine on a plane. Okay, I'll stop.
Running Bear says, make friends in the UK. Amethos. Hey, I'm just reading comments. That was not a personal opinion. I'm not attacking anyone.
He calls people out, friends from, Australia. Hey, look, he's doing that whole thing pointing in the back thing. Or did you drill out your barrels too?
Wow.
I don't even want to go there. There's real big with power drilling.
I mean, I'm not calling anyone out, but while we have our lovely, lovely guest on, do you happen to drill your barrels?
I drill my barrels. I don't even put the arms on my Space Marines.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
Who needs arms?
Speaking of things we haven't even done yet. So today, our brother and our last UK special guest, Zach, the Crimson Painter, started up a Facebook group, Honor and Heresy. Pretty cool. And they had their first painting competition this month. And today at 4 U.S. time, U.S. Central, or 10 in the UK, is the deadline for a Paint Up a Loyalist Space Marine. And I've been so into orcs lately, I lost track of time. And I'm going to have to tap out on this one. I've got mine primed, base coated with gray sear, shaded down a little bit. I haven't even airbrushed in my highlights yet. I'm so unprepared for today, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to tap out. Womp, womp, womp. So I kind of feel you on the not even having arms on your Space Marine yet. Speaking of things you've done, let's let the chat get to know you a little bit. Kaiser, my man, would you like to give a brief overview on who you are and some things you've done in the hobby?
Some things I've done in the hobby, who I am. I'm the Restless Kaiser from Modeling for Advantage, which is another YouTube channel. We do a lot of battle reports. I suppose which it's really weird at the moment, of course, because we can't do battle reports. I think if you wanted to know what was different about our battle reports from other people, is we get a lot of the rules wrong, but we have a good laugh while we're playing the game. We tend to play small games, and the banter between the players and the enjoyment. The format that we've been playing is probably quite similar to what this Combat Patrol will be when it comes to 40k in the future, and we are looking at doing that Crusade business. But as well as 40k and Kill Team, which is probably about half of what we do, the other half is historicals. And you said about painting today, this is what I'm painting at the moment, some Flames of War US mortar carriers. I've just lost Mythos for some reason. Because bolt action and Flames of War is like the other half of what we do, really. We're a real mix. I think a lot of channels tend to fix on like 1 or 2 games, but I think a lot of gamers do a lot of different stuff. Me, I like to roleplay, board game, war game, historical stuff, science fiction stuff. Mostly, I just want to roll some dice with my friends and win.
That's what it's all about.
Unless you're starting to roll freaks, if you start rolling freaks, then you're having a bad day. You're gonna get tased.
In some of the games they play, though, rolling lower can actually help some situations. From what I've seen in some of their battle reports. You mentioned the banter. Say what?
Yeah, some systems they just can't cope with the idea that high is good.
Right.
You're gonna roll under a number. It's like, what? No. 6 is to win, right?
Exactly. You mentioned one of the things that makes your channel different in battle reports, and is the banter and the chemistry that you have with some of the other guys of the crew. And I think that's one of the things that made me a repeat watcher. I'm going to be honest with you. I've never, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, but I've never had any interest whatsoever in historicals before. However, I came across watching your 40K battle stuff, and then I enjoyed the personalities I was watching. And after watching those personalities, I wanted to watch other battle reports and stuff like that. And that's how I kind of got it started, watching all the stuff on your channel. And so for the personalities that I'm tuning into, I will watch battle systems. I have no idea what's going on.
See that in the comments from you. You're like, I had no idea what happened here, but it was fun to watch.
Exactly. And that's definitely not a reflection of your guys' ability to portray the game. It's just me. I have trouble learning a new rule system. Unless I have one of our you guys ever have the rules guy in your group of friends? Freak and I usually have one of our brothers, like brother Ethan. Brother Ethan is constantly our go-to when we screw up rules. We're like, what? How does this go again? Ethan, does this rule do this? That's our go-to guy because he can read the rule book and remember everything that's going on.
Yeah, it's like a walking dictionary,
Yeah. It's having the implementation, isn't it? The one other thing to say about my channel, which I didn't get to, but Mythos brought up, there's Modeling for Advantage. I suppose it's my channel, but I'm the producer. There's actually a team of guys who all play different things, and that's not one way of the battles not being the same. It's not just my Space Wolves and Johnny B's Ultramarines fighting each other each way. We work with a pool of different people, all of who put quite a lot of work in. My only rule is there's no unpainted minis on the channel, really.
And that definitely makes you a lot more professional than us. We used to, we try and have fully painted armies now when we have a battle going on. But early in our YouTube, man, there was a lot of half painted, some painted, partially painted.
Well, we'll see if that rule lasts into 9th edition when there's going to be a massive rush to get everything on the table.
All the new minis look so good.
That's pretty exciting. Yeah. It's so cool.
This is getting irritating now.
Next question. I think which you've already kind of touched on a little bit, but you may have a more expansive answer if you have more armies. People in our chat often like to know how you identify in the 40K scene. So you just mentioned you have a Space Wolf army and that Johnny B's got some Ultras.
Yeah. So my principal armies. I played Warhammer as a boy and then hadn't touched it until the previous 8th edition came along. And I moved town and so forth and needed to find games. You can't persuade people from a standing start to play stuff like Flames of War. So I started playing Warhammer to get back into the wargaming scene and then try and get some people to play other stuff. So I got Death Guard and I got Space Marines from the previous edition. The military historian in me really likes the Imperial Guard as a concept army, and so my first real army that I invested time, money, and effort into was just standard Acadians. But I found them really slow to play. But you roll so many, a bit like orcs. You roll loads of dice that don't do very much. They were quite slow playing, and so then I moved into the Space Wolves. So I think that's all of them. Then I've missed somebody. Imperial Guard, Space Marines, Chaos Demons, Nurgle Demons.
Oh, wow. Nurgle. Well, that matches up with your Death Guard pretty well, I imagine.
But the other guys on the channel, Johnny B has got a very sort of lifelong project and the love of the old RTB, Jess Goodwin original Corvus Speaking Marines, which are tiny compared to Primaris Marines, by the way.
Yes.
So his army is that, and he does a lot of kit bashing to be able to get the weapon options and so forth, and the characters. Clueless Mike is our rules guy. He's the one that knows his onions. He's
Okay.
mainly Blood Angels, but he's got some Chaos and some Imperial Guard. But he's just obsessed with red. He'll have any model if it's red, and he'll have it.
And is Clueless Mike the one who prefers to convert and run 30K models as Primaris because he prefers the look?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
That's a pretty interesting project.
He not prefers the look of the 30K medals. He doesn't like what Primaris Marines make all of his other Marines look like.
Oh, so they're throwing the scale off?
Yeah, it's like these guys look like idiots now, and he's got like 20,000 points or something. You know,
Sure.
he's been collecting since he was a teenager. Same army. I think the only Primaris model he's got is Mephiston. Because it was beautiful, but he's supposed to be a beast anyway, isn't he? So he didn't mind.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
But yeah, he's using 30K models. So Blood Angels, and then James Workshop, who's another regular on the channel, has got Chaos Demons and Custards. Is his new adventure.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah. Was Warhammer 40K your first tabletop? I don't know if I might have missed that, but was that your first go-to tabletop gaming, or was there something else that you had started out with?
I mean, you're going back a long time now, but yeah, we're talking quite back into the previous century. I had, I had that original box of RTB-01s. I had an original RT Rumbler, and all of which were painted different colors with enamels from little tins. Blue tack arms that have fallen off, all that kind of stuff. Being a poor boy from up north, but that's where I started. But I think it was only ever really sort of as in my the middle span of my life. It was only just sort of starting to scratch the itch of historical gaming. It's really interesting the journey you go on as gamers. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, I really craved more detail, more involvement, more complexity. Now, I want the game to be done in an hour and a half. I've got to go home. I've got to put the kid to bed. I've got to get up for work in the morning.
Right. Well, it's funny because Mythos gifted me a really cool set of historical World War II miniatures and tanks, and I'm really hesitant to paint that because I'm afraid I won't do it justice, but I really want to start tackling that because I love historical vehicles. And I'm thinking this would be so cool because I probably won't play it, but I definitely want to paint so I can showcase it. And just
if you're ever remotely tempted, Bolt Action is basically 1940K. It's a Rick Priestley book set. It's very familiar to you.
Wow.
Some interesting bits in 28mm miniatures.
Yeah.
But there's the historical community is again split between people who just enjoy the game and rivet heads. Yeah. If you want to paint your minis with pink berets and call them some, I don't know, the Pamp Brigade.
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, Bolt Action actually is the one that he so it's like I love that. It's like, okay, this is so cool, so I can't wait to put it together.
Bolt Action's like a 30 model game.
Yeah.
Have a check out a video on my channel, perhaps.
Awesome.
Channel is called Modeling for Advantage. I am. The rest of the guys are back. Oh, the cup's a bit dirty. There we go. Look at that.
That's awesome.
I love these comments. I don't want people talking to us here.
I love that your cup has a different color inside than the outside, so it really kind of pops.
Yeah, although I'm drinking out of John's because Johnny B's my principal co-host. He got them made up, and it was red and a blue insert.
That's cool.
But between my wife and I, when we've had red and blue mugs, she prefers the red one, I prefer the blue one, kind of thing. So I kept drinking it, but he had sugar in his. It's awful. I'm like, it's got my name on it. Stop drinking mine.
All right, catching up with some of our amazing community here. I'm sure you saw our friend Y-Bird is actually muted the guest. Oh, when did we mute the guest? Okay, I don't know when that happened. Oh wow, there's been a lot of talk. Going back to catch up. Last time I saw Modeling for Advantage, he was in a dressing gown.
I think you'll find that was my house coat, sir.
Model E4 Advantage, I watch him. Sounds like a Lancashire or a Yorkshire accent.
Interesting. Bit of both. I was born in Yorkshire, but I lived. My wife is a Lancashire woman. We lived there for a while. Not like she's a sheep farmer as well, but you know.
He really had that dialed in, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He got it. Yeah.
Gosh, that's like those people who are like, this wine tastes like grapes from about 300 feet off the west coast.
Right. I think a couple of cows took a dump around the field, and
Why does it always go back to poop with you?
Wait, what? Oh.
Anyways,
So I noticed you have a pipe. I actually smoke pipe, and what type of
tobacco, sir? Before you ask, tobacco.
No, I knew. I guessed that much. Because I'm like, why is he always so happy, smiling? No.
Actually, I used to smoke the pipe extensively, but I started inhaling it. And if you think inhaling cigarettes,
yes, yeah,
this thing is like sucking on a bonfire.
right.
But I'm going to be dead in a week. So I actually moved. I don't smoke the pipe very often now.
Right.
But I do. Like now, I can't. I'm not sure I could paint or anything while we're doing this. I've got something to play with while we're chatting.
Right.
Like,
You're so used to having it in your.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny. Yeah, because and I kind of stopped for a little while for that reason, because it's such a smooth, especially the different type of tobacco that you use. It's such a very smooth aromatic, so you almost kind of like, you don't even realize you're doing it. You're inhaling it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is a problem, and I need to. And then instead of
it's a bit like herbal tea.
Right.
They smell better than they taste.
Right.
They smell massively better than they taste.
Absolutely. I used to smoke
smell great. I just make one and just leave it in the corner of the room and
Right.
sniff it.
Right.
I used to love cigars and pipe in my 20s, and then I met the love of my life, who said, and when I asked her, the question, she said, "That's a deal breaker." So I got the yes, and I left the cigars.
Still alive.
Huh?
And you're still alive because of it.
Right.
Excellent.
He is.
Yeah.
I have
Right.
my own humidor with the pipe and a couple of Cubans, and but I'm a bougie. I'm a every now and then we say bougie, but it's bourgeois, right? Very
You're
elegant.
from Louisiana. It's bougie.
It's bougie, baby. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like this like street gangster thing. I'm not a fan. If it was mentioned on telly, I don't see it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you bougie. Okay then. So yeah.
You're talking about the big guy.
The big,
Cigar.
the big, the big, yeah.
It takes a night to smoke. I don't have that much time.
Actually, it's not too bad. I mean, a good night, put a little salsa music in the background, kind of go out in the backyard and just relax, enjoy the evening, and maybe even have a little scotch on the side, whatever, and it's just a very good, relaxing time. Of course, story, my brother and I were doing that. We do that on occasion. And true story, my son-in-law had come out and he goes, "Hey, can I hang out with you guys?" "Sure, you want one?" "Yeah, just don't inhale." "Oh, no problem. I smoked these before." "Oh, really?" These are real Cubans, okay? Real Cubans. And my brother just going to town, just enjoying the time. And then we look over there about 15, 20 minutes later, and he's just very pale.
He's lucky he didn't throw up.
Almost did. We were laughing. Boy, give me that. Go inside. Oh, but now that was that we'll never forget that. It's like, all right, kind of hanging with the big boys, and you've done something stupid.
Don't smoke, kids. Don't stop. Don't stop. No, it's not bad. It's bad.
Save yourself. Anyway.
So you got some questions for me?
Yeah, got plenty, man.
Man, you said something a few minutes ago, and I was like, I had a response for that.
Hold it.
And it's because it was like semi-question and now I've lost it. I've totally forgotten. I got sidetracked with that.
These guys are here to talk about the preview from Warhammer, aren't they? It's like, get this guy moving on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You know what I mean?
You know, our favorite thing is celebrating the community. We're always going to start with our guests first. But next, I'm going to catch up with the chat. I hear that model is historical gaming easier to play than 40K in your experience from Mini Warman?
I'd say yes. I'd say yes. It won't be easier for you because you know how to play 40K. But, you know, let's just have a think about what's this, like the 4th book that I've got for 8th edition? There's a lot of rules to learn.
Right.
You think about what you know about an army that you don't know anything about in 40K. You know, just how the details of, I don't know, Drukhari work. If you don't have a mate that plays Drukhari, it's a mystery to you because there's millions of rules.
Drukhari was an example I used last night because people were asking. I got gifted a Drukhari army. People were asking me what I got, and I'm like, I got a thing,
you know,
and some stuff.
Yeah, I got a dude with some crazy hair and a gun. I mean, Drukhari are really bad because when someone tells you the rules, you're just like, that doesn't sound right. Can I read that? That sounds too good. You just feel like you're cheating all the time. But anyway, in a lot of historical games, you're not going to get that because historical games have got dudes with rifles, dudes with machine guns, and they're all just dudes. You know, there's no such thing as toughness 5, toughness 3. There might be veterans or whatever. But on the flip side of it is there's a million World War II vehicles. You know, there's different things to learn, but it's much more commonality between the armies. But I don't think I've ever come across a rule system as sophisticated and as unnecessarily complicated as 40K. I don't mean the strength toughness. I mean the special rules on a data sheet. Space Marine bolters. How many different types of them? They're tiny bit different.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I can see both sides of that because on one hand, when I'm facing another Space Marine army like Freak's Fists, everything is relatable because it's similar to something in my Space Marine army, right? However, there are so many times where I'm watching your channel as a good example. It's like, oh, wait, this is the 1974 version of this tank, not the 1969 version. So blah, 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 stat is different. I'm like, I'm lost. Like, what? How do you look at that tank and know that that's the, you know, which one or the other? It's the same name. Like, again, I'm just throwing names out there because I don't know historical. So Rivet counters are going to attack me in the comments. But, like, it's like, oh, it's the same. It looks like the same Tiger tank to me. But, I mean, you're spot on. You're like, nope, that's the 1964 version.
Yeah, but I honestly gets a lot more Rivet head than I do. I'm talking about like the big differences, believe it or not, not the little differences. There's people that can tell you the different number of bogies on a M4 Easy 8 and stuff. You know, it's like, I'm not even sure what an Easy 8 is. I know it's a phrase, and if I need to, I'll look it up.
I was watching the BMP basic miniature painting, and he got attacked in the comments because he put somebody pointed out it was like a long, like 7-page explanation on why he had the wrong shade of blue on these soldiers' pants. And I was like, holy crap, I'm never doing historicals. It was crazy.
But so as soon as you start drilling down into that, it's a little experiment, right? If you ever do get into historicals, if you want to get a million replies, I'm new to this, painting a German model, what color should I be? Field gray. You will get 50 different answers. Because nobody makes fray anymore, which they made in 1938. And the precise recipe is not clear. So you've got uniforms as examples, and well, we have, but these uniforms have been in museum cabinets for 70 years. They're not the same color anymore. And they were made in 40 different factories with different materials as the war went on. Someone trying to tell you what the right shade is.
It's up to interpretation then, yeah.
I'm not sure anybody really knows what the right shade is.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, you want to paint your guys with pink boots, they're not going to look like World War II soldiers. But in the different stages of the war, they were different colors. It's just like, it doesn't matter. Does this guy look like an American World War II soldier to you? Fine. That's the fun.
I love that casual attitude. That's awesome. John Batchelor says we don't need no rules.
Johnny, that's my Johnny B.
Oh, Johnny B.
Johnny B, yeah, the man. Yeah, Johnny B is my principal co-host, and he's a great guy. He's just not very good at Warriors, which is why I like to play him a lot.
I love the chemistry between you and Johnny B the most, I have to say, and I'm still looking to find out how I can win those Gilliman underpants.
Now you can win the Gilliman underpants. Well, when we hit 1,000 subs, they're going to form part of the giveaway. He has made that clear.
That's going to be hilarious.
So what made you jump into the YouTube arena?
I mean, it's hard to know, isn't it? Because I mean, and you guys do this stuff. Is your hopes and your expectations? It all changes all the time.
Right.
And there was, if I step back and think, when I first started, the first video that got 50 views, I was like, wow, I'm really, really going there. And so 10 of them will probably me. And then there's the 10 people at work that said, oh, at lunchtime, can you just do this because it helps with it? And so there was definitely a point, though, that I thought I can do this, or I can try and do this. And had been talking about it with people down the local store. My friendly local gaming store is called Argue Count. And our James Workshop was one of the directors there at the time. And we did some stuff around Shadowspear. And I think that was kind of instrumental for both of us, is that I learned so much from James about the production of it and so forth. But James was running 1.5 full-time job. Running a game store, I think, is about giving up 150 hours a week of your life to make basic wage, by the way. I think it sounds like a dream, but I think,
it's
I don't
passion,
think
though, right? It's all about passion.
Yeah. So things like editing the videos and so forth, it was just too much for him to do regularly. So I just started doing some unboxings and so forth of stuff just to see if I could do it, really. That was mostly, I thought I can do it, but now gives me real focus and keeps my hobby keeps it moving forward.
Awesome.
That's really awesome. Catching up, we have had some even more awesome people jump back in. So I'm going to catch up on the chat real quick. We got Devil's Brush Gaming. Hey, brothers from over the pond.
Hello,
Christopher from Devil's Brush Gaming.
Hi.
Can't wait to see Mythos paint that new ATV in White Scars colors. Yes,
it will
so
happen.
pumped for that. Did Modeling for Advantage say that James Workshop was a regular on his channel? Is this a real person? I thought he was an invented promotional guy for Games Workshop ads.
So James Workshop on our channel has been James Workshop since he was about 14. There's now somebody at Games Workshop calling himself James Workshop, but our James Workshop owns the Twitter handle and things like that.
Nice.
He's been James Workshop for a long time.
The originator, not the imitator. Very nice.
I
the guy from Games Workshop now.
I had caught that because after they started doing some of those ads around Christmas time, you started referring to him as the original James Workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. There's an imposter now. Works for Games Workshop.
Bolt Action and Flames of War are both excellent. Little story about that. I actually started with Flames of War by accident because I was at the local game shop, and me and my brother were the first ones out in a game of Magic. It was a chaos game, so there was 12 of us, and it was a free-for-all. And he and I died first, and we were looking for something to do. And our friendly local game store owner, who actually used to be friendly and local, it was like, hey, I have a demo game of, huh?
He's now neither of those things.
Anyways, he had a demo game of Flames of War set up, and he's like, I've got this tabletop game. If you guys would like to demo, I'll run you guys through while your friends finish up playing the card game. So we had our first game, and it was actually a lot of fun. So we ended up playing 3 games that night, and at the end of it, I said, man, the system is so fun. If only there was like a fantasy or sci-fi version of this. And my brother Daz walked over to the 40K section and said, well, let's go take a look. and I followed him, and I've been broke ever since. So the
What's
system
sad is
claims
Daz
that
doesn't play anymore, and Methos.
I have his orcs now.
Yeah, you got his orcs. That day.
Ours is the original, absolutely. Running Bear started historical games in 1979 and then got into 40K.
1979. That's more pedigree even than I have. We have very harsh winters in the north. I'm not actually as old as I look. It's a rugged frontiersman, you see.
I don't see any age at all, just dapperness.
Dapper indeed.
What's all the scrap on cigars and pipes? Where's the plastic? We'll get to that, brother. We'll get to that. Big Mac Dan Skull. Good to see you, my brother. We have Twisted Dice, and I believe that is probably Darren. Play us historicals, olive green, wash done.
Absolutely. That is how you do it. Agrax Earthshade, mate. Bottled talent for historical war games. Everything's a variation of brown. Baseball, Agrax, done.
We've got Zach the Crimson Painter has joined us. Good to see you.
He painted
And Geeks
red.
of the Realm. All amazing people. All amazing people.
Oh, I know, guys.
Afternoon Wolf Brothers. And actually, at this point, all three of us on today are a form of Wolf Brother. Freak has yet to get in his first game, but he's got like 1,200 points or something like that last we counted out.
I got a team.
You've never played 40K with Space War?
No, sir. Have not yet.
Wow.
Well, to be fair, he inherited a good 800 points of his Space Wolves.
And I painted a few, put together a few, so I'm still...
He actually painted all of them. That's the interesting thing. The 800 points he inherited, it was a commission, and after he sent it to his client is a friend of ours, and a year later, there was this horrible garage accident where several of those big metal storage shelves caved in on each other and absolutely smashed apart his Space Wolves army. And he was going through the pieces and said, I don't even want to try restarting or rebuilding these Space Wolves. Do you guys want any of this? And so he gave us, some of the pieces, and which is how I captured some of Freak's little German Shepherds here. But yeah, and so that's how Freak kind of inherited an army he already painted.
Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet because it's like you do that for a friend, and I'm kind of glad that he was able to bring it back to the family, but it was kind of sad that he was no longer going to play them because you invest that time and you put that time in for the enjoyment of that person, right? That's the whole thing about doing commission painting. It's like, okay, that you're doing it for them to enjoy, and then you're like, I can't enjoy them more. Okay, I get it. It's almost like you're readopting,
I don't know why. He showed me a little baggie of some of the bits of the Space Wolves too, and several hundred pounds of metal shell falling in on it. You could see like the plastic just exploded in some cases. Like no amount of glue is gonna.
No.
I mean, giblets.
Yeah.
Like you can't super glue giblets back together.
Cautionary tale, kid. If a man invites you to his garage to show you stuff in little baggies, normally you should say no.
And that is a PSA from Modeling for Advantage.
So,
it's if Zane were on right now, we would so have comments about how we're promoting people going to people's garages
and children's
buying
fight club,
little baggies.
Yeah,
toddler fight club. Yes.
So, Freak, what was it like then? Because I don't know about other people, because I'm kind of new back into the hobby. But looking at what was it like to receive those models back a year later? You progressed obviously as a painter. It's like you've done these as a commission. You looked at them. Did you think? How did you feel about that? Were you still happy with the result, or were you like, oh, I wish I'd done that different?
That is a good question because I was pleasantly surprised how well I did because I've never painted anything else like that. See, the thing is, this Space Wolves, he wanted them black with bronze and yellow. That was his main colors. And I'm like, okay, I think I can do that. And I never painted black before. This was my very first attempt ever, and of course, being that it was a black model, I wanted to make sure that it had some kind of highlight to it. You know, I wanted it to pop. And let me see if I can get a peek.
I'm hoping he brings him
catch up on some chat while he gets his. Geeks of the Realm says, just getting together my Space Wolves army sorted and just working through my wolves, and oh my god, they are awesome. Space Wolves all the way. Yeah, baby.
So when I got him back, I was like, I cannot believe I did. You know, I did that. It was more like pride. You know, I was very. At first, I'm like, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel. You know, I was like, am I gonna like him? You know, do I want to redunk him? But surprisingly, I did well for me. And I'm thinking, wow, can I duplicate that again? You know, so it was a sense of pride actually to be able to see them, you know, and then coming back to me, I figured, you know what, this is actually neat. This actually turned out better than I thought. And no, I definitely had a sense of pride. The fact that he thought of us, you know, to you know, bring him back into the family. I was like, you know what, you can't beat that. So I'm glad he came to us rather than, you know, give him to somebody else. So, you know, because we're definitely going to show him some love. So, but yeah, that's a good question. So
you've got some kudos from one of my favorite painters in the world, Ben Ellis, from whom I have an amazing Space Wolf Knight. He says black isn't an easy tone to paint, and I definitely agree with that. Being that my Space Wolves are black and silver with blue as a off color, because I kind of juxtaposed, and they're mostly black, but then the blue is kind of like that accenting color.
Right.
And you can see from the beginning of that was my very first 40K army, and you can see my beginning work where it's just a flat black, no highlights, nothing. You know, and a very bright silver with the most basic null oil on it. And now, you know, my black armor has depth and tones to it and all that good stuff. So, you know, you can see the progression there. And whereas I thought originally when I started painting, oh, black's an easy color, spray, you know, base coat done. Like, I don't need the shade or highlight. I mean, it's black.
Right.
Apparently there is, if I could go back and tell my previous self 5 years ago, there is more depth to black armor than that.
So, a little tip from the military war gamers with regards to black. Obviously, there's loads of pro tips about edge highlighting and so forth, and dry brushing with blues. But what a lot of the historical war gamers do is they paint black things not quite black. The color, which is like German grey, which is a really dark Vallejo grey. And then when you put the null shade on it, it provides some definition. It still looks black.
Sure.
But it's black, and you're doing it the other way around. But obviously, things like edge highlighting, but they're not just more time. They're more time consuming. Is my big thing. One great thing about washes and dry brushes is the speed, isn't it?
Absolutely, and even like you said, that right there is a great tip to bring out, and that's a tip I didn't think of before because that's exactly how I paint white. I start with gray sea gray and kind of I go one step below and add my shadows, and then one step higher and add my highlights. So that makes sense if I'm going from one extreme to the other.
So that's what is good about the historicals, and one of the things I'm interested in as a gamer and a modeler is model making. So people like Weatherpig, who's in here, isn't he? He does a lot of stuff with like bigger scale models, and there's a lot of stuff the model makers do with oils and all kinds of stuff. I know basic miniature painting and stuff like this as well, but it's all bleeding together now, isn't it? How did I get my Dreadnought or my Lehman Ross? That's how Minkoff did it. That's how Briggs did it. There's 20 different ways of doing it. I'm giving you slightly different results, and I like that because you can look at what other people do and right, that one's going to work for me.
I just had my first go with oil weathering a couple weeks ago, so yeah, some of those skills are definitely bleeding over. I'm more of a Geeks of the Realm is more of a D&D player. Just got into tabletop gaming about 5 years ago. Same here. and now the same. I've become very broke. However, I have tons of game systems. Yeah, we're very new within 5 years ourselves. Although now that we've been through, this will be our 3rd edition. I guess we've attained some kind of veteran status.
I don't know about all that.
It's a joke, of course. We're still going to get rules wrong all the time. But yeah, welcome to the hobby with us, man.
Absolutely.
Geeks of the Realm does have some very cool D&D stuff on their channel, so I would definitely check that out if you haven't checked out their channel already. Orc Boy says, I never use black, always use Vallejo Black Gray. I also heard Vallejo Panzer Gray is a good color for that too, from Mini Warzone people.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Methus to actually give me a tutorial on playing Space Wolves. That's kind of what I'm really waiting on. Oh, because he is the quintessential wolf brother. So
I am. See, I don't have very many Space Wolf tutorials because my Space Wolves aren't Space Wolf colors, and we've talked about this.
I know, but I'm talking about a 101 game tutorial. That's what I meant. So.
Oh, okay. Man, I've had so many people ask me, why do your Space Wolves look like Chaos? I'm like, what? Yeah, they're in black armor like Chaos guys. It's just my custom colors, guys. They're royalists. All right, speaking of Space Marines, you want to go into some of the news, or you want to go straight into some Art of the Week first?
I think of the news, everybody's chomping at the bit. What do you think?
Yeah. Before we do transition to the news, we got a lot of pictures. You want to start with all the pictures of all the cool stuff this morning? That's probably the best thing to start with.
That's a good idea.
Before we do that, though, we want to mention that we are part of the Edict Beer Wargamers Unification Group. You can check them out on Facebook, and the Chilling Network, who you can also check out on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the Chilling Network is started by the Chilling Wargamers. Fantastic live show every single week, and extra content, too. Elstonation came back this week, his return to the Chilling Wargamers. He had a little vacation, a couple weeks off. And
nice
actually, this is your 100% true Elstonation fact today. And the 100% researchers actually have put in a lot of number crunching over the last few weeks. And what our scientists have found out is that over the last 3 weeks, due to the break of Elstonation missing from social media, the number of painted figures in the world have actually gone down by 61%. So the number of painted models has slowed almost to a crawl in the absence of Elstonation.
That do the government COVID information then.
Yeah, it's a stat tracked by the CDC now, the number of things painted in the world. And with all of these people at home painting more models, that's probably the only thing keeping it only at a 61% decrease. So that is your 100% true Elstonation fact this week, guys. The Bunkus says, I actually caught one of the 100% Elstonation true facts.
And knowing is half the battle.
And knowing is half the battle. But he's back now, guys. Painted minis will return to the world once again.
Yay!
Johnny B says, your cigars have turned up on the order. When do you want them brought around?
Whenever you're ready, John. Thank you. That's an insight into the real world. Because of COVID, we're ordering our shopping from supermarkets to be delivered. We use a supermarket that doesn't actually have my brand of cigar, but John does. So he puts them on his order and drops them round. Usually we exchange some video and have a socially distanced interaction, obviously. Just a genuine love between two grown men.
Actually, Freak is going to bring me a package today, socially distant, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Socially distant love between two grown men. And he's going to bring me my package from Gamecraft Dragon today. Actually hand him over his brand new Frost and Fist iPhone case.
Yes.
That'll be cool.
I need it. Like a hostage, negotiation here. You put yours.
We also got in our stickers recently, and man, these things are massive. I was not expecting it to be the size of my face. Like, that's crazy. So that was pretty cool. So he gets to pick up some stuff today, and he gets to bring me my package. So we finally get to unbox those amazing Gamecraft Dragon boxes. My Space Wolves are painted in the 13th Company colors. That's awesome, Orc Boys. 13th Company is by far my favorite. And actually, the whole Eye of Terra book is my favorite Space Wolf story ever.
I like
All
Nick's
right.
13th Company. I really do like
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Nick, this is just my opinion, fam. But Edict Beer 40K has my favorite Space Wolf army on the entire internet.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's he doesn't showcase them much now, but I mean, when he was really, really heavy into them, they're gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful work. I love his style. I mean, beautiful theme.
Absolutely. All right, so
I'm ready when you are.
feel free to transition over, my brother.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some epicness. So this doesn't come in the starter box, but at the end of this morning's video.
Gosh, all good.
What happened?
No, we're drooling. Keep going.
Beautiful.
Continue.
At the end of this morning's Twitch video, they showed reinforcements. So what's going to be the next wave after this launch box? And you can see here the Invader ATV. Guys, part of me is a little sour because I just had 3 Outrider attack bikes built up and converted, and then 2 more ordered. And
This one does look a bit bad, doesn't it?
Printed from a armature conversion, and yeah, now I'm like, oh well, the attack bikes are never going to get seen again because these look amazing.
I just love the driver though. He's got that multi-barreled autocannon directly above his head.
Right.
That had better be one soundproof helmet.
You got Space Wolf, man. He can't wear his helmet.
Oh, this is
Can't
true.
wear his helmet.
And the heat generating by that thing. Yeah, it's gonna have some scarring, won't he?
Have to get some like ear defenders or something, like Mickey Mouse ones.
That's so cool, though. The design is amazing.
So
And
what
you
do
know
we
what it
think?
kind of reminds me of? Remember the Warhog from Red vs. Blue or Halo?
Yes, yes.
That's what it reminds me of. Just standing in the back, never running out of ammo.
Yep.
Get in the Warthog.
You never know. You might get like 1 million spent shell cases on the sprue that you have to individually glue on.
Oh man, I might have to make me a little Red versus Blue diorama.
You could snip.
Shout out to Rooster Teeth.
That's awesome.
Get
Say
some brass box and snip it up for spent shell cases.
Oh yeah. You know the Orc Boys kits comes with plenty of spent shell casings. You could probably sprinkle them around.
That'd be awesome. Just put them like around his, shoulders and then, around his collar, like what?
So do we think in the rules that these are going to be like the other attack bike? There'll be you can use it separately or you can attach it to a bike squad. They did that with the Gene Stealer Colts and they did that with the Space Marine attack bike part of that unit, can't you?
As a White Scars player, I hope they get all of the attack bike rules because I would really like to get the benefits I get from attack bikes with these things. Now that's just me being selfish as a White Scars player. I know we White Scars are probably like 1% of the Space Marine population, but that would be nice. That would be nice. This thing is pretty cool. This is almost directly for the people who said, man, I can't stand how stupid and this is me just paraphrasing because obviously I love the jump pack guys with the autocannons, but I know a lot of people don't. They think that they look dumb in their jump packs with the autocannons. So they're like, okay, well, we have a turret version for you now. How about that?
I do like this.
It looks great. It's almost like they looked directly at the feedback, though, and said, okay, well, we can make this how y'all want it.
It's very, World War II's-ish, or kind of modern, I guess, military, since it's a turret.
Yeah.
I like that.
Honestly, so the 80s kid in me really likes it because it reminds me of a lot of toys that I had for G.I. Joe back in the day.
Yeah. Yep.
I guarantee there will be a kit bash adding some Necrons to replace those Space Marines. My space wolves sound like space wolves with emo fringes. uh, oh, fringes as in bangs. The invader looks like a Lego kit to me. I like.
Wow.
I see some comparisons here that they look a lot like the old orc war buggies, or the Primaris have looted or discarded all the old orc buggies. Big Mech likes the turret here. Looks like a man tarantula turret. Yeah, that was one of the things that got mentioned in the Twitch comment a lot. Is like that they look like the tarantula batteries only man now. So that's a really good catch. We've got Wargaming with Gary.
Hi.
Really, really amazing guy. Again, if you guys like historical stuff, that's the man who's got the knowledge. As opposed to, of course, not the modern historical stuff, but like really, really, I don't even know the right era to call it, but really historical stuff.
What
like,
do you think, Kaiser?
What?
What do you think about these?
What do I think about the? I love the quad bike. I almost bought a Gene Stealer Colts Army just because of that quad bike. It looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to kit bash. I say kit bash. Head swap these guys. Maybe a Gene Stealer Colt guy with goggles for the driver, and a Goliath head Mohawk for the gunner, just to give it that very wolfy look. But that tarantula, it looks a lot like a tarantula. I thought it was tarantula because I had those in Epic going back a long, long way. And I'd forgotten about Epic. You asked about 40k earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I moved from 40k into Epic quite quickly when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I really hope that the Depths of Titanicus will bring an Epic back, and maybe he will.
Very cool. You mentioned earlier when we were talking offline how you wanted to put a Mohawk with the goggles guy. Although I think that might run into the barrel. But there was one, gosh, I can't remember what kit it's from, where it looks like a parted Mohawk, where it's like two, which would be hilarious because the gun barrel would fit like right into the V.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So this looks like a new heavy destroyer for the Necrons. That looks pretty amazing.
Looks insane.
Again, I don't know a whole lot about Necrons, but I think Necrons with some different heavy destroyers with different weapon options would be really cool. And the model looks fantastic.
Right. I agree.
I think the heavy destroyer was like a Forge World conversion or something. You got it was a different kit or a resin part. I think they've needed this model, to sort of complete the current range. I think it wasn't a nice kit.
Yeah. I think Nick has done a video on that, how you had to buy the plastic kit and then buy the resin upgrade kit. So all in all, you were really shelling out for a heavy destroyer. And that's why it led to a lot of people kit bashing. And then because most people kit bashed them, the kit never sold well and they never got an upgrade. So I think this just doing a whole, wiping the slate clean with a whole new sculpt is really, like you said, smart design.
Yeah. I think if they changed the main destroyer model, they were expensive. I think a lot of people would be quite upset about that. Oh.
The new banner guy, and I have to say I really like this banner guy here. Although this reminds me of the meme of, so do regular size Space Marines still fit into the new edition? Of course they do, and people like circle this guy and the guy on the shield. Oh,
they've really gone for the nailing Brother Dave to they got it on a shield on one of the other guys, haven't they? Like,
yep.
Enough left of him to put in a dreadnought, so we glued him to a shield or a banner instead.
Brother Dave is on the shield, and this is Brother Jimmy here. Jimmy was the former banner bearer. Now Jimmy's the banner.
Right. Man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you spit your water. I want to make a meme of this guy, saying, "Can I give you a hand, brother?"
Is he carrying the hand of the guy on the banner?
I don't know if it's his hand. It's a hand.
Like, sorry, buddy, I need that.
During the Twitch stream, the host of the show jokingly referred to it as a skeleton key. Look at him holding that skeleton key.
Oh my gosh.
You don't. This is definitely grimdark here.
Yeah. This is emo territory here.
I think the
Relic Hands has got a real world precedent, by the way. I don't know if the viewers or you guys know this, but in the French Foreign Legion, that what they're like relic of the organization is the wooden hand of some captain who died in an ambush, like Alamo style.
Oh wow!
And when you join the Legion, you have to swear to, defend the wooden hand of a guy who lost the battle. Like, this is a bit bleak.
That's a little weird.
Just like, hey, don't drop the hand. Don't drop the hand. Get the hand.
Man, can you imagine somebody is talking crap and the banner, this ancient here comes over and slaps him with the relic and it's like, talk to the hand. Talk to the hand, brother.
Oh my god.
All right, moving on.
Jeez. I really like that.
So what do you think of the rogue aesthetic that they're going for then? I mean, they've obviously, a lot of these guys have gone for that. You might say they look a bit more Sigmarines than Space Marines now. What's your views on that?
And coming from a person who started with fantasy stuff, I love the look on this. This guy is amazing to me.
Yeah.
So I found out watching the live stream today, I've been calling this guy a Judicar, but apparently it's a Judasur. It's a soft C at the end, so it's a Judasur.
And I learned something too.
But that sword is one of the most badass swords I think I've seen sculpted on a mini before.
Yeah.
It just looks awesome.
It
reminds me of the Hard Edge from Final Fantasy VII. Also represent fellow Final Fantasy VII fans. Big Mech says that banner guy, I think, will fit nicely into a fist army.
Green.
Something. Oh no, I think the turret will fit nicely into a fist army.
That too.
The white scars will be the new cheese in 9th edition, says Wybird Miniatures. That'll be. I mean, I'm down for that. Boffnet loves that banner, and Ian says a 40k Relicator, or whatever the Sigmarine is called. Yeah, I don't know enough about Age of Sigmar to be able to tell you, even though I currently have AOS to paint. But yeah, I should know. I don't. But yeah, to me, it looks like it could go in either game. But I love the look.
Right. It's
just amazing, and I've always loved trench coat kind of looks, and this guy's got that trench coat look. It looks very
assassiny. Yep.
Yeah, overall, this might be my favorite model, aside from the bikes, because obviously I'm biased towards bikes. This is my favorite model so far in the new release.
Yep. Oh, by the way, all these we're showing are actually in the box.
Except for the first ones we showed, the Heavy Destroyer, the quad bike,
right? Those
and
are announced
the turret.
Releases.
Yeah, those are reinforcements. But this new stuff is
tank killers.
The Judasur is crying out for a Death Guard conversion, in Big Mac Dan Skull's opinion. Because I mentioned that it looks like the Hard Edge on the Judasur. Wybird says give him some blonde spiky hair. That would seem cool. So this is an up close of what people were really speculating about the possible melta weapons for a while, and they look awesome. I mean, I've been saying for a while that Primaris melta guns would be amazing. And I really hope that the upgraded stats, they get some distance, because that's always been the weakness of melt weapons, is you got to get them up close, and obviously Primaris Marines, it's a lot of foot slogging at the moment. What are your thoughts, Kaiser?
These are Gravis armor. Look at those legs and the shoulders. These are for close in work. These are Gravis armor without power fist by the looks of those models.
Oh yeah,
which is quite interesting. I mean, if they're just melter guns, and maybe they're Primaris melter guns, 2 shots, maybe strength 9 instead of 8, which takes you in a critical bracket for knights and certain vehicles. I don't know, but the Gravis close assault weapons could work.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I want to be in the middle of the board anyway. I just
Right.
need a bit of staying power, and these guys might have it.
And I think, and while they do want to move to the middle of the board, I think distance is a possibility, because when we look at the intercessors, the bolt rifle got bumped up. What was it, 6 inches or whatever? The plasma rifle on the Hellblasters, that got the range got bumped up on plasma a little bit. So with this Melta, we might see a bump up for Melta guns.
Yeah, I think these are for close-in work, though, these models. I don't think you'll
so?
see much. Yeah.
Well, you know, it might be
Gravis armor at the back.
Hmm?
You wouldn't want Gravis armor at the back. Those guys need to punch something to get their points back.
Yeah, that's true. Very cool, very cool. I'm really interested to see the stats on them. They look like they could definitely put in some work. Also, I've mentioned before that I find myself as a comic booky kind of painter, and I love overdone heat bloom effects, and the heat bloom on those melt guns look really nice. This is the captain.
Yeah. I think Lysers are going to be replaced. Yeah.
Surprise, mother trucker. This is kind of a busy model for me. What do you guys think?
I love it. He just looks like a veteran captain. He's been around. He knows his stuff. I don't know. It just looks like he's to be respected.
This guy's got baubles on top of baubles.
Hey, it's flair, man. You know?
No. I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way.
You go to Chili's. You go to Chili's. You know, they're wearing their flair, man. You know, how much?
We really want to talk to you. You've only got the minimum required 51 pieces of flair. So I'm meeting the standard, right? Yeah, but you're meeting the minimum.
The minimum, right? Look.
What do you think of the helmet up version? Very Night Crusader kind of look, right?
Exactly.
You know, that's one of my favorite things, and I might not use it on my captain, but I love the idea of, you know, I don't know why in movies with knights and swords and stuff like that, that's always been one of my favorite things. Right before they go off into the battle, it's the whole. That's that time to get serious moment, right? Is when they pull the faceplate down.
Go time. Yep.
When a knight pulls his faceplate down, it's like Ash Ketchum turning his hat backwards. You know, it's serious.
It's on.
Yep.
This model is gorgeous, but as a gaming piece, that shield's going to take longer than I spend on a squad of Marines.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
you know,
it is big.
Just this guy is really, really embellished. It's a beautiful model.
Right.
For me, I feel it's too much for a starter kit model. If I'm being, you know, in terms of the role that this model is going to play, everybody's going to have one of these, and the overwhelming majority of people are not going to be putting the time in that a model like that demands, really. But when you're talking about like the visor up option, it's like I don't know whether I'll take it on that model because it's already got loads of stuff going on.
Right.
I can see myself painting the model and having the shield blue tack to the hand or something for 3 months before I get time to do those extra bits.
Now,
there's so much there.
I'm going to agree with you, and I'm about to say an opinion that is probably going to be really unpopular because a lot of people have said that the original Primaris were too clean, too plain. For me, because this model is a little busy, I love the look aesthetically. I don't think the look is for me. So I might take a shield and convert up my own captain of this to replace this. I fully intend on. I mean, this box is phenomenal. However, I like clean lines, right? That's why one of the things I liked was the simplicity of, you know, the original Primaris box. So clean lines is my preferred aesthetic. I might convert up, add a shield to, you know, a Gravis captain or something like that. You know, an existing captain with sword. So that way I can get the clean lines look, but bring some of this detail there. I want some of the baubles here. You know, maybe that particular shield and just put it on someone else. You know, I want some of the baubles, but not this much flair.
What does a chapter master look like if this guy's a captain?
That's fair.
You know, I mean, there isn't a bit of him that's undecorated or wearing.
It looks like Terminator armor because it's so bulky, but it's actually just all the flare pieces on them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and I can see Johnny B's going to have this on his painting desk for about 2 years before it ever sees the light of day. It is gorgeous. It's just as a gaming piece, that's a nightmare, to be honest.
Agreed. Much love to you too, Crimson Painter. Geeks of the Realm also says it's a very detailed model, but definitely not my cup of tea. It's going to be difficult to make this wolfy. Yeah, I would rather take something with clean lines and start adding pelts to it than start from this point.
That's correct.
There are 3 head options on the sprue for that, Captain. Big Mech was saying. You have the visor up version, you have the full helmeted version, and then you have the full bear head version. So that's some good options there.
And as a Space Wolf player, any optional bear head is another variety of head you can stick in with your mainline guys to mix up. Because after you've got 10, they've all got the same head after that.
Yep.
And yes, disclaimer: this is not a starter set. This is just a standard box set that they're putting out with the new stuff in there.
That's interesting too, because they said that this is not a starter box. This is a box meant more for people already in the hobby and want to launch themselves into 9th edition.
Right.
Which what they've said is that this box is more packed with models, and that it doesn't come with the stuff that you got in Dark Imperium, like dice, rulers, stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
I think they'll almost certainly be doing a £25 and a £50. First Strike and No Fear. They'll almost certainly be doing those as well, and they're aimed at starters.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because they did that with the Sigmar re-release when they went to Nighthorn rather than what they'd done the previous time.
I really hope that you're right with that, because I really don't want to have to buy the Necron half of the box to get what I want.
Oh, they still had both armies in.
Oh yeah, that's true. For me, it's a Necron tax. We love you too, Gamecraft Dragon and Lady Dragon. The new chaplain, what do you guys think? Now I'm mixed. Oh, if you go back to the Assault Intercessors real quick, I did want to mention, I did have a piece of news for that. They did announce today that those Assault Intercessors, those are heavy bolt pistols on those Assault Intercessors. So now we're looking at AP on the chainsword and AP on the pistol. So overall, your Assault Marines just got better. I mean, like, not only do they have the Primaris stats now, but they have AP all around. So, I mean, you've got
AP assault pistols. Go figure.
Yeah, so I think. Go ahead.
These are turn 3 Blood Angels from the beginning of the game. Blood Angels get that AP -1 and that extra attack and it gives them some real late game steam actually when you've just got to knock a few troops off objectives.
Right.
And that AP -1 makes a big difference in a lot of cases to throwing out the numbers. I think these guys are going to be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely feeling them for my Space Wolves and my Space Wolves and my White Scars too, because one of my frustrations is I love running the big blobs of Blood Claws, but I have literally had before where I've gotten into combat with Freak with my Blood Claws and gotten in. I've scored like almost 40 hits. It was like 36, 37 hits or something like that, and he literally took 2 wounds from all those attacks from just regular 3-up saves. But I mean, I just don't believe in 0 AP weapons. But that 1 point of AP, all of a sudden Marines are now 50-50 chance whether or not they're going to die or not, so.
Absolutely. Mitigates a lot. We don't know, Space Wolf players. It's still really early in the Primaris, and I think you probably will see these as the Bloodclaw equivalent. I'm not saying this time round, maybe in the next edition, but they're obviously going to make the Dark Angels and the Blood Angels a little bit different in the Primaris range over time, and I think those guys will be Bloodclaws.
Really excited about that. The new Chaplain, now I'm really torn because I never got the Chaplain with the pimp stick before, and I like that Primaris Chaplain, but this Chaplain looks amazing too. What are your thoughts, gents?
He's pretty angry. I think I like him better than Emo.
Well, we never started using Chaplain Emo because we really love the model. It's because we got asked during a street one night what people thought was the most 40K model in the range, and we were both like, Chaplain Emo. That guy's covered in so many skulls. Fun fact. during the stream this morning, they said the new Judicer has 13 skulls on him.
Damn.
So I was like, that's got to be somewhere close to how many Chaplain Emo's got.
Yeah, that's a challenge, you know. But this looks like he's got the what do you call it? The pistol, like the intercessors do. Yeah, that looks like the heavy pistol.
Yep.
So this is
So
gorgeous.
Yeah, I like it. Now I don't know which Primaris Chaplain I want.
I think I'd want this one, like Terminator.
Is that you need to use 2. The thing with a lot of those monopose things is everybody has the same captain in Gravis armor, and everybody had the same 2 lieutenants at the beginning.
Yeah.
They're bringing out with these monopose models that are quite stylized.
Yeah.
And bringing out alternatives for that, so that you can, if you've got to play 2 chaplains, they're not 2 identical models.
If you get this one, Freak, maybe I'll get the Pimp Stick one, and then we'll have that variety like the Kaiser's talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
I just love the hooded look of the Pimp Stick one. Also, this is my first time really seeing a non-named chaplain that's not in a skull helmet. You know, the bare head on a chaplain is new for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Blade Guard veterans. I mean, just the name sounds badass, right?
It's melee, baby.
This, I mean, they look so good.
Yeah, they do. They do have a good bit of flair as well.
Yeah. Now, see, this is an acceptable level of flair to me, though. Like, it's not just like they don't look like a Katamari rolled around, you know?
I do like these. I love the shields. The shields just make them.
Yeah. Very striking with that white and gold, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about the ball holsters?
Oh, the holsters. Yeah. So they're for the heavy bolt pistols as well. We can tell. I imagine they'll probably be, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess they'll have those. That's an option. Heavy bolt
Of course,
pistols.
you know, when we do firearms training, that's always one of the first thing we tell newbies is you never, no matter what you do, you never put the pistol down here.
Right. That's a good place for it. Oh, my balls. Oh, we don't have any.
Yeah. But I mentioned how that's one of the things that we teach in firearms training over here is, you know, because it's so prevalent in movies, especially like, you know, people on the street often in movies will have a pistol placed right there at the package. And we mentioned that's a good way to lose, you know, to lose your nutsack. And of course they're like, yeah, but don't Space Marines not have a nutsack anymore?
Exactly.
Like, oh, well,
Like,
I mean,
we've got nothing there. We have nothing to fear.
a lot of people, and Wybirds as well, said they want to see these painted up as Black Templars, and they would definitely make some great Templars.
You know what? That does look. You're right. That would look really awesome for Black Templars.
And actually, so Templars really fit the vibe of this entire box here. One of the words they kept throwing around during the Warhammer stream today was the words a Crusader aesthetic. So Templars definitely seems to be the perfect place.
I agree.
They'd got Jess Goodwin in to do a lot of this, hadn't they? He was on the stream, and he was part of that original, you know, Knights of the Empire.
Yep.
Concept art, early stage Warhammer. I think that's maybe got, you know, they got him in because of that, really, to restore some of that aesthetic. Which
is amazing. I love the work he's done. And I think he really went into depth of wanting that Crusader look when he talked about the visor up, visor down look. That was pretty cool. Of course, future White Scars, baby.
Yeah, spikes, baby, right there.
Now it's interesting. I only see these. I'm assuming, well, one of them with the sword. I wonder if, like a regular bike, you'll be able to take all of them with chain swords or something.
Be interesting what the rules are.
Screw. I think one of them's got one on his lap and one of them's got one in a holster. I think they've all got one.
Oh, nice. I wonder if you'll be able to switch out the weapon on the Sergeant too, like regular bikes. Because if not, that might be a reason to.
They'll do that to tell you not to red sprue later in a multi-part kit, I'm sure.
And then they'll update the rules, but not until then. just like the intercessors. You know, the intercessors originally came.
This is your first turn charge for Space Marines. This is what a lot of players want. You know, that's got the movement to get across the midfield, turn one, and slam it into whatever you like.
Yep. If they don't update cavalry movement, I may have to end up looking at putting a couple bikes in with my wolves to get across the field that first turn and be that first volley until my cavalry can make it there. That's one thing I was really heartbroken about when 8th edition rolled around, was them reducing the movement of cavalry. God, this lieutenant, however you want to go with that, looks amazing.
Yeah,
again, this Volkite pistol and the sword at the hip, I mean, just very cool.
Well, compare that to Idiot with bolt pistol and power sword, which we got in the previous box, or one with a rifle.
Right.
No. This guy can get in and earn his points back, can't he?
Yeah.
He can get it, make fight, shoot at hard targets, storm shield, keep him alive.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely a combination fighter for sure, you know.
This might be my favorite Primaris lieutenant yet.
Yeah.
Kill himself on a 1. That's what we like.
I love Volkite weapons in theory, but being that I've never played 30K, I don't actually know how the rules for Volkite usually go, so that'll be interesting for me to see. Now, Necrons, of course, also, they're not usually known, except for maybe Wraiths, they're not usually known for their melee prowess, but these guys just look badass.
I'm scared.
I think the physics on walking on 3 legs is not great, but, you know, it's a static model, so we're all right.
So true. They have to topple over as soon as the one leg goes up.
Yep.
You know, but like if you look at like War of the Worlds and stuff like that, like, you know, it's definitely been done in sci-fi before, and it looks, because our brain has trouble making 3 legs look, you know, natural, it gives it that kind of creepy sci-fi vibe. I think that is really well done.
Definitely. So I think the Necrons really needed this. They needed some dedicated melee troops that weren't sort of taking up slots. Powerful melee troops they can just slam in and expect to get some results. I think they had those sword and board guys, but for whatever reason they never really got the mustard. And if you're going to test objectives and mid-ground, Necrons really, really struggled with that and had to use like flyers and so forth to nip around the sides. Whereas these guys, a decent unit of them, maybe can actually fight for the middle ground.
Yep.
They don't have to keep falling back in the face of your Blood Angels and your Eldar Vikes. They can fight for it.
And they mentioned today they wanted to get back to kind of a horror kind of vibe for the Necrons. And I think, you know, like they've always had the undying army that's marching towards you kind of feel. But this really makes it feel like when they get to you, they're, you know, like it adds that level of tension that if they get to you, you know, it's going to be bad. So I like that.
I'm not a Necron fan, but I really do like these very much. I would not even give them a time of day under normal, circumstances. But these, and I think if I would get the box, I would definitely paint these guys up.
I love the heavy metal team job on the glow on these swords too. It looks incredible.
And the blending of the black stone with the kind of glowing green and so forth.
Yes. Yeah. This is well done. And they broke down the color scheme. It's not just, one metallic color and then green. It's multi-tone, like a bronze, gold, and then you got your silvers and your gunmetal look. It's just very well done. I love that.
Yep. Ooh. It was interesting to listen to the heavy metal team talk about their painting choices.
Yeah.
With this too.
This is just epic right here.
Yeah.
Man.
Really, really cool model. This is the Overseer, I think. It's either the Overseer or the new Overlord type guy. Johnny B mentioned there are new sprays help to achieve this, right? They're coming out with a new Rune Lord Brass color, spray color. So now you'll have not only the lead belcher to give you the classic Necron look in spray form, but you'll also have the Rune Lord Brass to be able to spray for this kind of color.
Nice.
Gorgeous model. There's this guy. I saw stats for him somewhere, and I remember that these are really beefy stats. Again, just like a boss version of the guys we were just looking at. It looks fantastic. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, this is a monster, isn't it? This is a,
Not one to be trifled with, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that HQ with the big spear we were looking at earlier, Heinrich Botha said that was the Overlord.
Oh.
If I have a problem with that model we just looked at, the beefy version of the three-legged thing, it's just done that thing that they've done a lot of in 8th edition, is it's got 3 different weapons. And when it comes to gameplay, that's 3 different stat lines that you have to go and look up.
Yeah.
And I'm not keen on models that have, like the repulsor tank. It takes 20 minutes to fire it because it's got loads of different weapons and they're all different.
Although, to be fair, you're only going to be rolling for 2 of them in the same phase because 2 of them are melee and then 1 of them is a gun.
Yeah.
There's that, at least. But it's a bit like a Dreadnought. You know, Dreadnought comes with sometimes missiles on top plus a weapon and a close combat.
Oh, yeah, and a Stormbolter and a Flamer and lots of other,
So this is the mid-level boss, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know Necrons, guys. They're cool minis because they don't look new and shiny. They look how they should be, aged and older, while still being tech-based. Yeah. In fact, one of the heavy metal team was talking about how they went and looked at how metals oxidize and how different weathering effects they could have, from being in sleep or stasis for X amount of years. So they actually went and looked at, how to achieve some of these worn metal looks.
Interesting.
Whatever this heavy weapon thing is, it looks cool.
It looks really cool. An interesting choice of like a red wash.
Big Mech Danskull says, I never thought I'd be attracted to Necrons. Well, sir, if you've seen some of the fan art I've seen. What? Nothing. Love you.
I was going to say, what site have you been at?
The dents in them, though, if they've been in cryogenic suspension, is there some like scarabing going in and chiseling holes in all these Necrons? and maybe the oxidizing bit, but they're all dented, aren't they?
Yep. Oh, and they mentioned that there's going to be some head bits or arm bits or whatever. Some that will have that, like they've been beaten or bent up or crushed, like metal in disrepair would be, and then some of them will come whole. So you'll have your option of head choices. Do I want bright, shiny, new-looking Necrons, or do I want weathered and beaten up Necrons? It's cool that they're giving you that kind of option from the get-go in the box. A lot of people, when they first saw the trailers, they were like, oh, well, all my current Necrons, they're the older sculpts, so now I'm going to have to get new heads, so that way, they match mine and don't look all busted and undead and stuff like that. But now they're giving you the option. Wybird says they should never be rusties because of the metal they use is anti-rust. But see, this is a Grimdark Super Rust, Wybird. That probably has a lot more of a Grimdark name. So the Scarabs here. These are new Scarab sculpts, and they look pretty awesome. And I'm sure this gives a lot of Necron players hope because previously you couldn't get the Necrons separate. The Scarabs separately. You had to buy a box set to get Necrons. I think it was the Warrior set. So of course they're going to come in this box set, but I'm sure the hope is that if there are new Scarab sculpts, eventually they'll start releasing Scarab boxes. Look at this floaty guy with the big spear.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It is weird, but again, it really matches that kind of tech horror vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the look.
So on that, what you just said about Necrons and the Scarabs and the Warriors, I know that when they showed us the sprues, they had the Warriors on their own sprues. The the scarabs. And if they've been smart about the design of this box, they'll reuse those sprues. Like the Dark Imperium stuff, it was all mixed up. So they couldn't really sell those sprues. The intercessors and the infiltrators, things are all mixed up. Whereas these sprues look like the bikes were on one sprue and so forth. I'm not sure whether they're actually intending to sell us these sprues in the future.
That's probably why we still have yet to see the Gravis Captain separate, because he was all mixed up with the other sprues.
Exactly. They'd have to make another model. Whereas they might be planning with a smaller range like Necrons, which is not as widely played. Like actually, the box of Necron Warriors you're going to buy, remember they said they've got 2 different weapon options and things. A lot more modular than a lot of the normal monochrome stuff they give us in these kits. I think they might be the same warriors we get in the box.
You see that, Freak? This is why we invite on a guest that's a thinking man. We at the Frosted Fist wouldn't have caught that.
Nope. Not at all. Be like, ooh, pretty. Go to next slide.
I mentioned the Grimdark Super Rust Wyberg goes fake news, Mythos, fake news. Elstonation! Amazing painter. We actually have already been through our 100% true Elstonation fact, but if you're interested in what it was, is we have noticed, our researchers and scientists have discovered that while you were on break and hiatus from the channel, there was a worldwide 61% drop-off in number of painted and completed models. But after your return, the CDC fully expects that the number of painted models will return to the normal. And that is your 100% true Elstonation fact this week.
All true, baby.
Loving the Plasma Cryptek, says Heinrich Botha. And he is one of our community Necron players here, the Frost and Fists. So we definitely love hearing about that. Look at this floaty thing here with the spindly legs. This was one of those that really caught my attention every time I've seen pictures of it. Like, it's one of those, I don't know what the hell it is, but it gives me that very alien, again, kind of tech horror vibe. It really gives me almost like Soma vibes. Do you ever play Soma?
Actually, yeah, I'm still in the middle of it. I just started playing it.
Really?
Yeah, I love the game. It's incredible, man.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
It is,
and that kind of
very much so.
Tech horror is what I kind of, that vibe I get from this.
I'll tell you where I've seen this before. That probe in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. That's another good catch. Now, there is a name I have not seen in forever. Kiblams, my man.
What?
Good to see you, my friend.
Holy cat poop.
Good to see some
How are
Kiblams
you,
action
man?
over here.
You be.
Blam! Running Bear says those Necrons are rusty because a Space Wolf spilled Miad on them.
Could be. Could very well be.
It'll put hair on your chest and rust on Necrons.
Where is
We are at 11:40. We should probably get through the last of these pictures and go on to some art of the week.
Sure.
Also, I've got a little bit of, I want to pick the brain of our guest a little bit if we have time. But let's get through these pictures and then we'll do some art of the week.
Okay, give me that's what it is. So remember in Half-Life, or Half-Life 2, the dog, right? Did you play Half-Life 2, Mythos?
Or 1.
Oh, 1? Okay, so...
Nor 1 or 2.
You serious?
Yeah. I tried, but Half-Life... So I wanted to start with Half-Life 1. And that was when the first-person kind of perspective was still new, right? And just for whatever reason, that engine made me motion sick. I couldn't play Half-Life.
Yeah, because it was on the... Right. I understand. But anyway, so on a second one, there was something that was invented, which was called Dog, and that's the head that looks just like it. This is kind of what it reminded me of.
Gotcha.
Troop choices looks like
New Necron warriors with multiple gun options.
They just look machina, don't they?
These things look really interesting. They were lovingly referred to as murder buckets when the design team was talking about them. This is another one. A little bit of tech horror You know, like what happens when these guys get to your troops?
Yeah, doesn't look too friendly, does it? I mean, they look too.
Did the Space Marines get a boxcar racer? Yeah, they got an ATV. That looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. A boxcar racer.
Speaking of creepy.
They'll be my White Scars will be entering a soapbox derby in 9th edition. I have no idea. Oh well, I mean I know what it is because it's a reanimation or something like that, something or other. It helps with their survivability. It gives nearby units a buff, and it says it shoots stuff out at things that makes them die less. So, as if Necrons weren't already survivable. Freak, you remember what it's like trying to mow down Necrons and them just not dying?
Yeah, I still have my left eye twitching.
Those so Kablams agree with you. Those fellows look like Dog from Half-Life 2 to him.
Right.
So he got some support from the chat. And this one, Hired Bob says walking washing machines. That's how they make the Necrons survive. You take a few wounds, it washes you right up, you forget that you've got bullet holes in it.
Wow. And that is everything.
If you'll go down a little bit after some of the articles there, our man the Kaiser has another picture of what the full list of contents for the box is, just in case anyone in the chat's curious. Especially since we didn't have names for all of these and we weren't able to really articulate them.
Okay. Are you talking about like the ATV and stuff again?
No, it's like right in the middle of the news articles where
news article.
It's from Kaiser.
Oh, I see it. There we go.
All right, so if anybody wanted to see what the full list of contents is, it's all here on one page.
This is a very loaded box.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons why they kept saying this is not a starter box.
Right.
This is for the existing players because they cut out the tape measure and the rulers and the dice and said we're just going to load up on models.
Stuff that we already have. I mean, this is very nicely loaded. I like that because it's not full of fluff. It's full of the stuff that you need, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually, I like this. A good box.
Another focus they said is they wanted to make the transfer sheet here more loaded than previous transfer sheets.
Oh, it's
because
loaded.
They said a really neat thing is that it's not just from a game selling standpoint, but also it's like a quiet piece of fluff that they had there at the Warhammer team, where when the Primaris Marines first came out with the Dark Imperium box, they were all a lot more plain Jane and smooth looking, and they didn't have as many bits and bobbles on them because, you know, they're right out of Call's factory and they've got a cold detached feel because they've just been armored by Call, you know. Well, so they've got that cold detached look to them. But see, that now that they've had 100 years with their battle brothers, it's only natural that hanging out with their battle brothers of the Space Marine chapters, you're going to start picking up some of those things that the original Space Marines do. You're going to start adorning your armor some of the same ways. You know, even some of these religious things like the reliquaries and stuff. Right. Yeah, I'm going to pretend I said that word right. And, you know, they're going to start having all those like pseudo-religious attachments that they, you know, and trinkets that they put on their armor and stuff like that. You're going to have more on that. And so they've given you more than just, this is my chapter, this is my position. There's extra little bits here on the transfer sheet, like they mention eagles that can go on somebody's shield, you know, on the smooth surface of somebody's shield, or it can go on their tabard, you know, things like that, different chapter campaign badges and stuff like that. So they said they wanted to add more extra bits and bobs. You can see there's way more than just chapter symbols here in the
I find it interesting who they're actually catering this to. You know, you got your ultras, you know, you've got your space wolves, you know, yeah, and everything else. I don't see any real fists at all here. None. Zero. Nada. Nope.
Some angels here.
Got angels. Yep. Absolutely No Imperial Fist. Why?
But see, you can get Imperial Fist transfers a dime a dozen. I think all the extra bits and bobs here, those are going to be transfers that are going to be pretty unique to the
You couldn't get Space Wolf transfers.
And
Dime a dozen. What?
I'm saying you could. I'm just saying on the upside, at least you have the other stuff in the box. Of course, you don't usually use positional decals, do you? Like the decals, these are my troops choices. These are my fast attacks.
No, actually, I do. I do it on my new stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean that's what I noticed though. This is definitely not Imperial Fist friendly at all. So
okay,
screw those guys. Just saying.
At least it's a little more than before with the Angels and the Wolves, because I think the Dark Imperium was just Ultramarines.
Not gonna lie. I think this was much needed. The fact that they're definitely gearing this to the Space Wolves, which is great because you got to understand this is a very much melee army. This entire this whole army is for the most part in your face, punch them in the nads kind of army. I get it, and I think that's great. I think this is where they're going with this. Is that they're making melee more viable when it comes to this army, if you look at it in the sense, right? So I can kind of see maybe why they're not gearing that to the Imperial Fist, because they're not, considering Imperial Fists are not much for running in your face to shoot and punching. They're more like stay back, let's let them get to us, and let's shoot them on the way.
Although with this big Crusade feel, I would really have liked to have seen some Black Templar.
Agreed. I totally agree, and that's why I'm really surprised I don't see any transfer for Black Templar. I mean, they're missing out on that. I honestly, that for me, this is somewhat disappointing that they chose not to go that
so
route.
Kip Lambs, as far as their own codexes, in the recent Space Marine release, all of the sub factions from the vanilla codex all got their own codex supplement.
Yeah.
So there was like a little mini codex for White Scars, Imperial Fists, Salamanders. All the founding chapters.
Yeah, it's called Codex Supplement. Yep. So, but yeah, I'm disappointed. At least the Templars, you know what I mean? But that's kind of suck. That's kind of a.
So it's pretty cool stuff here. Any thoughts on the screen here with the pictures and all the contents, Kaiser, before we move on to some artwork?
No, I mean, as I said, I thought it was just worth having a look at it so you can see that you are getting 20 warriors in that box. To not 10, not 5, you're getting 20.
20, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things they mentioned, is that this is one of their biggest value boxes that they think they've seen. As far as contents, if you were to buy everything separately, they said that this box is less than 50% of the separate sale price.
Nice. And there was a rule book in there, which they said was about 400 pages long. It looks bigger than the existing one.
It looked beefy for sure. All right, I don't have a ton of art for you guys because I knew that we were going to talk about the new release a lot today. So, but we do have some art of the month I want to finish up on. So this is from Grumpy Guy Gaming, one of our friends here on YouTube. You can check his channel out. And so he said that this is his custom Space Marine chapter, and he's got his own fluff for them. And of course, this is going to be very heretical, but I really like his custom fluff for it. So he said his fluff is that, of course, these Space Marine, the Emperor is so powerful, and these guys were so loyal and devoted to the Emperor that they continued to fight on in death. And that's why all of the HUDs you're going to see are replaced with skull bits, and some of the hands are replaced with skeleton hands.
I was wondering about that, because at first I thought, okay, what happened? Nuclear explosion, they all got killed in action, and that's what it looks like.
It's completely their connection to the Emperor that keeps these guys alive.
Creepy.
Really well done skulls too.
Gorgeous
this is
work,
it's not just a bleach bone white skull. This is just a very detailed skull. Oh, I figured kablams. That's why I went ahead and explained the whole codex supplement thing. Really, really cool stuff here, though. I love the Terminators. Some of them still got their helmets on, but then some of them you can see they've got that whole undead, you know. And of course, this is all built from the idea that even in death, I still serve. You know, it's so cool.
They're nice. I didn't realize there was a whole series of these, not just the one. Is that freehand painted, the banner?
Yep. That banner was all freehand.
That is gorgeous.
I think the banner is one of my favorite parts about this. It's just so well done.
He's an amazing. I think he's an amazing painter for sure, and I think that's all freehand on the shoulder pads as well.
I was just thinking that. Wow. That's so much work.
And he said his plans for this army is to be completely foot slogging, no vehicles, just undead soldiers.
Wow. What? No, it's not what I wanted. Okay.
He's got blue purity seals, presumably so that they stand out against the other chapter iconography.
Yep. Grumpy's always been really good about that kind of deal, you know, spot colors to make things stand out. We had on the Commodore a couple weeks ago, and he was mentioning how that he was doing the same thing with his fists because one of his models had a lot of red on it. He's like, so what color do I make this purity seal? And of course, some people have the mentality that, well, purity seal's got to be red. It's always red. It must be red. And he's like, but things like this, when I see it, it looks good. You know, that spot color to, okay, well, let's what looks good with a red background. You know, so they changed the color of the purity seal.
It definitely works really well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's Grumpy Guy Gaming here on YouTube. Very cool. This is the Pickle Jar, one of our brothers here on the Chilling Network. Shout out to the Pickle Jar and fellow YouTuber. This is his Shadespire Oryx. Very cool. I love the blood effects. I love his bright skin color. He was one of my inspirations for my own really bright WoW type skin color. And I think he's a phenomenal painter. Also, big shout out to the Pickle Jar. So his YouTube channel has an associated Facebook page, and they do like a Fajita Friday catch up with their audience every Friday. And on this past episode of Fajita Friday, he proposed to his girlfriend and now fiance, got an accept. You know, she accepted. They are now engaged. Congrats to the Pickle Jar. Big shout out and much love to our Chilling family.
And who cooked her fajitas? Is that what happened?
He cooked her fajitas and he proposed.
Wow. Girl, you better marry him.
I think that's the plan now.
All right, there we go.
Speaking of our Chilling Network family, this is from Dubunka, another amazing member of the Chilling Network. And this is his typhus. I believe this is a commission he's doing for a friend.
Very nice.
And his typhus, like his Death Guard, have just been looking spot on lately.
He's sexy. He's for me only.
And he's not put the stupid flies coming out the back as well. Good move, bro.
Another member of our amazing Chilling Network. This is Spud's piece here. And so he, instead of doing the Weird Boy, he wanted to make his own Weird Boy conversion, and he ended up making a Weird Grot.
That's so cool.
So it's such a cool conversion. Yeah. And he's got the right, so he's using a grot for what is usually a large-sized orc, right? And so he's used the right size base, and he's used some rock and rubble to build up the base size, so that way he's at the right height for a Weird Boy. He's got him a big boy staff, and some extra gubbins, and really gives him a good Weird Boy vibe. He's got some lore here underneath to go with. I think the next, no, I don't know if I have.
Yesterday, live stream doing some work on these guys, or the day before.
So
There was a stream a couple of days ago. We've been doing some work with grots on.
Go back to that weird boy grot real quick, Freak, if you don't mind. I just want to give you real quick his little bit of lore on that grot, just because I think it's really awesome. And no, I don't want to search messages. So cool. So this is from his Instagram, and I just think it was really, really neat. But he says, Smushtang Vertic is the greatest and most powerful weird boy that has ever walked. They are rumored that he is a direct descendant of the ancient creators, the Brain Boys. With a snap of his fingers, he can disintegrate the most powerful warriors of the Astartes into dust. He once laughed in the face of a giant carnifex, and it turned into pure gloop. On another occasion, he sneezed and took out a full platoon of guardsmen. These stories are etched on many ancient tablets across the grimdark.
It's like
Pretty cool.
Elstonation as a grot, you know.
So really, really fantastic work from Brother Spud here.
I like this a lot.
This is another friend of the channel, Clayton Beaver, Claydog, and Claydog has painted up this fantastic repulsor executioner, and I love all the extra little griblets. You know, it really reminds me of like when you see old World War II vehicles with pinup art on it and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff it reminds me of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like this very much so.
First of all, the weathering and shading on his yellow looks super.
It's very realistic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you look, each of the decals and artworks he has on here, those are weathered as well. It's not like, you know, you can obviously tell when something looks like a sticker on a brand new sticker on top of something that's already weathered.
Right.
Yeah, I get that a lot with the World War II stuff. You know, with if you put the decals on at the end, there's just this bright white star on the side of a grimy vehicle. But getting the right balance so you don't obscure it too much.
I have that on a few of my AdMech stuff where I hadn't thought to do the decals until after my weathering step.
Yeah.
And then you go back and try and match the weathering, and it just doesn't look like the layer you did underneath. No matter how much weathering I put, it still looks like that bright decal on top. I'm like, oh, I've mucked it up. Maybe if I don't say anything, people won't notice.
Mate, what do they look like 3 feet away, ultimately?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so, Freak, this time you're the one who accidentally said it. Remember before I made this mistake? So you mentioned that Weird Boy sounded about as powerful as Elstonation.
Mm-hmm.
Elstonation says, well, I am the size of the grot. And Spud's the war boss. And it's funny because that's the kind of dynamic Freakin' I have. He's war boss size, and I'm grot size.
Oh, my God.
Love the cards here. And again, these cards are definitely have that faded into the weathering look. Who doesn't love a bombshell babe on the tank?
I love this because it looks like this tank has been in service. You know, it has been in service. It's still in service, and it's, oh my gosh, I love it. I love the weathering. I may break down and start doing it. You know, I don't know.
It looks good. It looks
I
really
do
good.
like it. And he's again, Clayton is a crazy
I like
painter.
about moving on to my next army, because like my Astartes, I like my Astartes looking pristine, but with my orcs, I've just been going ham on the weathering.
Yeah. Gorgeous work, man. Gorgeous work, Clayton. This is beautiful.
Our Claydog brother is always on
Yeah. I love the scratch marks too. Okay, or or even reflection. This is really very okay. Yeah.
And his
Burning my
OSL
brushes.
glow always looks good.
Burning my brush.
I keep telling myself I'm going to go back and do that sort of thing on a lot of my models. I've not got to that point yet.
Yeah. This is really inspiring me to do that. That's just.
Yeah, the only thing that keeps me from doing that on certain projects is consistency. This is, if you guys, I forgot to get a picture of who this is, but if you guys had to take one guess at what amazing painter might have done this, what would you say? That's really good orc skin too.
It is.
This is a piece by the man, myth, and legend Elstonation.
Oh man.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Just the skin was just so clean looking,
Yeah.
so awesome.
Dang it, man.
And I think this is still work in progress, but I was just so impressed. I had to snap a quick picture of it. Super cool, super cool. So big loves to all of the art we looked at today. Like I said, I didn't grab a ton because I knew with all the news we were covering, we'd be pressed for time. But definitely a lot of Chilling Network represented on the show today. They are definitely on point.
Yep.
And some amazing stuff from Grumpy and Kaiser, Clayton as well. But there's a tutorial on how to paint that orc on its way. So very cool.
Very nice. I have Excite.
Yeah, Freak hasn't quite decided on his skin recipe yet. It might be something that Freak can use.
Oh, true that.
Freak, do you mind taking the screen over to the Modeling for Advantage channel real quick while we have a quick chat? I'm going to catch up with the chat real quick, and we'll just kind of go over to their screen. We'll click while we close it out.
All right.
Debunka has photographic evidence of Elston's size compared to Spud. Chilling Network is on point today. They absolutely are, sir. Who didn't drill the barrels? Oh, I didn't even notice. So some cool stuff there. Speaking of War of the Worlds, oh yeah, that really big tall thing. A little announcement. Somebody in this chat, somebody here on this call is going to be starting a Necron Force now, which is a decision someone will surely regret. Who might that be? Which one of us three is going to be starting Necrons?
It ain't me. I mean, I'll paint them. I think I'll paint them, but I'm not feeling them.
So tell us about your new Necron army, guys.
Well, so new Necron army. Yeah. Kind of before I forget though, because not everybody will know. I meant to say, because you mentioned Chilling Wargamers a few times. They've been live streaming. They've been nailing it. Like Spud must have done about 70 hours a week while we've been on lockdown. They've got loads of stuff going on at the moment. If anyone's not, there's been loads of great stuff there. Necron. So it's a channel thing. Every time one of these new big boxes comes out, I think to myself, well, I want the Space Marines, but I'm struggle to get rid of the other half. You sell it on eBay for peanuts or give it away or whatever. But actually, I've been thinking for a while about having a channel army painted up in the modern managed colours, and so I think I'm going to try that with the Necrons. With a really weathered white, or the white is like our principal background colour, really weathered white, magenta faces or maybe lenses, not sure yet, and then the black details. So I think it'll suit the colour scheme. I was tempted to get more Space Marines or something. I thought, now here's a chance, because people will want to know about Necrons in the early days. It's a very different army, and if I'm ever going to paint anything up in channel colours, and my plan is, Johnny B referenced it because he's a lot more careful than me. I'll build them, paint them and base them, and then pass them to him, and he'll do all the weathering and so forth. Between the two of them, get the job turned around fairly quickly.
So you guys make a little assembly line team, huh?
Well, if you give John a model to paint, you have to wait for somebody to die before you'll get him. But if you give John like 5 models and and you put the decals on these by Sunday, you might do that. You might have to give him a bacon sandwich or something. But he's a lot more careful of painting than I am. Much more.
That's awesome. It's a good dynamic between you guys too.
Right.
We actually had something similar go on. I did all the basic parts of my brother Roxas's tile last week, and Freak came by and it's like, oh, okay. I'm like, how would I do an OSL on something this small? And he's like, oh, hand me your airbrush. He's just like, beep, boop, beep, boop, boom. Okay, the tower all done. I'm like, oh, well, that was okay. So pretty cool stuff.
We're at the site.
All right, let's take a look at the Modeling for Advantage channel, guys. We just want to send you guys over. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button on Modeling for Advantage yet, We would love to have you guys go show our amazing guest today some love. He was absolutely phenomenal on the channel. Really enjoyed working with the Restless Kaiser. And I have to say, I love the chemistry, so I love watching all their battle reports. But one of my favorite things on the channel, actually, one of my favorite things through the entire week in general on YouTube has been watching their lockdown channel updates. I highly recommend you go check those out. And if you look through the backlog of some of their channel updates, you might actually see that
You see, you guys.
yeah, the Frosted Fist have made a guest appearance on one of these episodes, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Oh, so close! Only 5 away from 900
Yes.
subs.
Let's see if we can get him to 900, guys. Look at that.
Definitely, please show our brother from
Hey,
Modeling for Advantage
A
some love.
hot minute and get him to 900. Do it. Do it now.
All
I
right.
think people in the Idikbeer War Gamers Unification, we have a lot of overlap with our viewership, don't we?
Sure.
I don't know whether there's 5 people in here that don't already do that.
But we can see, right? We can see.
Yeah.
We've got some excellent representation from the Chili Network family here today.
Oh, heck yeah.
Maybe some of them will go over and click.
Come on, give him some love. 900.
All right.
900.
And we'll hop back over real quick. Hot take. We had a big discussion about this last night. We've seen a lot of cool stuff in the rules over the last few weeks. Some of them have been buffs to tanks and shooting and stuff like that. And I'm seeing a lot of units that are melee oriented. But so far, as far as the new rules go, I haven't seen a lot of love for melee yet. And they've said multiple times, we've really considered melee this edition. As a fellow Space Wolves player, how do you feel? You feel like there's some melee love coming?
At the risk of sounding offending everybody, I think there's a lot of melee players that just whiners, to be honest. I think that there's a ridiculous expectation that if you play an assault army, you should be reliably able to hit the other player's backfield in turn 1. And I don't think I want to play that game. Some armies can do it with some units, but there's an expectation that everyone should be able to do it. It's like, oh, this character isn't worth taking, he can't take a jump back. I don't really want that. There's no maneuver, there's no tactics involved. If you can reliably make a turn 1 charge, or reliably make a from deep strike charge. And so, I think melee is actually quite overpowered because it shuts a lot of stuff down.
That's fair.
You're at 898.
As a counter to that, I felt like, especially here in 8th edition, my melee, I think we're in a good place now at the end of 8th edition. I feel like Space Wolves took forever to get there. Like, Psychic Awakening was really the biggest buff here. But I felt like my Space Wolves, especially, I don't know if you play Tau a lot in your meta, you play a true gunline army, we struggle to make it into combat. Especially let's take Tau, for example. I'm going to Overwatch on 4s and reroll everything. And, I have nothing left by the time I make it to combat. I have no expectation of getting into combat turn 1. I want to not be dead for my melee to fight things.
Congratulations, you're at 900.
Yes!
Thank you very much, everyone. We actually had our first year anniversary. I started a year ago, which was just literally me and my little sausage hands unboxing some stuff. So, we've done all right. For anyone that is just looking at that, the lockdown stuff is so different from what we normally do. Meathus said it was fundamentally a battle report channel, which is, if I was to summarize it in a sentence, it's 2 dickheads fumbling their way through a war game, not enjoying themselves. That's what we do. We play a lot of different games and we have a lot of fun. What we're doing at the moment is experimenting with some updates and so forth, but it's just to try and provide some content, not so much aimed at trying to get new players, but so that we're not forgetting, I didn't want to just shut the channel down for a few weeks. And so this is still us. All the guys get involved. Like, we have a Facebook chat group and say, okay, next week's topic is going to be role-playing games, and people send in videos, and then I try and edit it all together. But that's not, if you look in the recent catalogue, you just see loads of that, but that's not normally what we do. We're normally fundamentally a bat rep channel.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome.
It's good to be diversified, yeah.
It's my favorite part of your battle reports. I'm glad you decided to continue with the updates, my favorite part of your battle reports, y'all's personalities still really come through in those updates, and that's one of the things I think is really amazing.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, guys. Any closing thoughts from you, Kaiser, my friend?
Closing thoughts from me. Well, 9th edition. If I was to say anything about 9th edition, and I'm glad we didn't talk about it too much, because there's just an enormous amount of internet speculation going on, and they've shown us half the rules, the things that people are talking about, and there's so much like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Well, you need to see the rest of it to know how that's going to work. But it seems up to me a lot more like 8.5 than a genuinely new edition, which I'm glad of.
Yeah.
Updating the cover rules. There's a lot of brouhaha about these updated cover rules, and I can't shoot a knight because there's a bit of a building in the way. Well, we haven't seen the rest of it.
Right.
Might be something on the knight data sheet that says this model cannot be obscured. A lot of these things would be really easy to fix. Necrons could have a new rule where the reanimation protocol works like in Sigmar. You get 10 wounds, regenerate every turn, any way you like, any model would be like.
Are you feeling optimistic, Kaiser?
Yeah, because I think that they haven't changed a lot of the core mechanics, except the bits that are really. When one grot touches your tank, your repulsor, and it can't shoot. Well, the repulsor can because it can, but you know what I mean.
Right.
One goblin touches a vehicle, it's effectively useless for a turn.
Right.
That was always silly. But you can still shut vehicles down by swarming them. But they still have to shoot those big guns at those crappy models.
It's not.
I don't want to. If I'd shoot a melter gun at a Gene Stealer, which has got a 5-up involved, or a las cannon, this is not what I want to do. So there's still something in there for assault players. It was the cheese move where they're like, oh, pile in, I'll tag that vehicle there with this model and that vehicle there with this model, and it will make them useless. Oh, no. That will.
You're at 901 now.
Whoa! Nice. But I am optimistic, yeah.
Awesome.
I'm very optimistic.
Awesome.
Especially for Space Wolves, because we do both. Blood Angels really want to fight. Imperial Fists really want to shoot. I think the best Space Wolf armies shoot and then fight.
Yeah. I have had to learn to shoot in the 8th edition.
Yeah.
I went from 7th edition. I was 100% melee.
Yep.
I took Dreadnoughts. I took Wolfen. I took Thunderwolves. I took Fenrisian. I used to play with a swarm of 15 to 20 Fenrisian wolves. So there was the Death Pact formation in 7th. I played almost 100% melee. And I got the 8th edition came around, and if you were a 100% melee player, you got kicked in the balls. In fact, GW would ring your doorbell and you'd open, and they'd hand you your Dark Imperium box, and then they would kick you in the balls and they'd leave. So that's how I got into 8th edition, and it was really weird. I couldn't understand why there's a GW van in my driveway. But yeah, that was my.
Was it white?
8th, and so I've had to learn
candy.
To do both. Huh?
Was it white? Were like issuing candy? Wrong van, Mythos. Don't eat the candy.
Anyways, but yeah, so I definitely had to learn to play more the mixed army. I would love to go back to 100% melee army, but it definitely doesn't seem as viable at the current moment. It seems a little stronger because of Psychic Awakening and some other stuff that has happened since 8th edition came out. But because I had such a strong reaction, because like I said, I was 100% melee, and I went into 8th edition, and I think we can all agree the beginning of 8th edition was very gunline focused. Like, you stand at the very back of your field, you put your support characters around your big guns, step 3 profit, So,
would you consider going back 100% if you had the chance?
I really have grown to love my Sakaran, mostly because of the way it looks. However, huh?
That was the one with the long slope front.
Yeah, the sloped front. Yeah, that's my favorite tank in the entire game. It just looks amazing. Now, every time I post up pictures of it, there's often 1 or 2 people that'll comment that the effectiveness of the Executioner has really made the Sakaran not worth taking, and I'm like, I just love the way it looks. It's my favorite tank in the game. I'm gonna keep taking this. and it almost always earns its points back.
It really does. Yep.
Just,
It's always giving me trouble.
I just play what's cool.
The only way to play.
All right, three closing thoughts for you, my brother.
Yeah, well, 9th edition continues to surprise me so far. A little sad that, like I said, there's not a whole lot of representation for our Imperial Fizz or Black Templars, but I do love the minis. I do love the models. I'm pretty excited with this box. Like I said, it's probably the start of a really good thing. These miniatures are definitely geared towards melee, which is something that I think has been missing for quite some time, especially for Space Wolves, and a lot of people who have been dying to have an army designated for that type of gameplay, and the fact that Games Workshop is listening finally, and they're moving towards that, I think is a step in the right direction. Again, like I just said, we don't know the full scope yet. We don't know the big picture. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds in just one big, swoop. And I want to be like you, Mythos. I want to be optimistic, although guarded. Yeah. So guarded optimism is probably the safest and best way to actually do this. Like I said, I'm looking forward to see what rolls out next. So far, good job, GW.
As part of your cautious optimism, do the new models and the new box interest you? Because like you mentioned earlier, you said that your fists don't really look for combat units. And a lot of this seems to be very up and in your face focus.
They kind of do, because I don't have anything that really represents that kind of gameplay. So, so that's a new field for me. It's a new arena. So that's kind of something that I want to look into.
Very cool. Just a couple of closing thoughts from our chat. Again, lots of love pouring in for Modeling for Advantage. Congratulating you. And when you said that you're at 9:01 now, Johnny B said, better start wrapping up the Gilliman pants. Oh, yeah. Geeks of the Realm said, some great paint jobs today and awesome work by everyone who painted them. I can't wait to get my models in on this showcase. Man, we would love to feature some of your work next month when we do our show, man. We'll definitely try and get some of your stuff there.
Awesome.
And Jig says, how did I not get a notification? I don't know.
Oh.
I did a few places. I'm sorry.
Blame Mythos.
It's probably my fault. Probably.
His potato did it.
Guys, I'm really hyped about the new models. I love every model that was shown today. There's nothing I didn't like. I may tweak a few things on what's going in my particular army for my particular aesthetic, but everything looked amazing to me. The Necron stuff, the Space Marine stuff. I am so hyped. I'm getting to unbox Gamecraft Dragon's box later today. That's going to be amazing. I get to see my
as soon as we're done with this. As soon as we're done with this, I'm heading straight over there.
Get to see my brother Freak today. And then my last closing thought is, Kaiser, my man, you were a phenomenal guest today. It was amazing chatting with you. I really enjoyed hanging out with you.
It was a pleasure and a privilege to be here, chaps. Really appreciate it.
And you got to come back.
I wore the fez just for Mythos, but he said he was going to wear a bow tie.
I did. I was fiddling with the size this morning, and I've lost so much weight, it refuses to stay around my neck. I have to buy a size smaller.
So just wrap it around your neck, no matter. Yeah.
It hangs down to here. It wouldn't even be on camera.
We'll get you a zoom out shot.
Next time, you're going to have to homage to Dr. Here.
Right? I mean, I did mine, and of course I was strangling because my, but still did it.
I was surprised how loose it is on my neck now. Like even fiddling with the straps, it's so loose. Guys, thank you all so much for watching today. It was a fantastic experience hanging out with all of you along with the rest of the Skies today. We appreciate everyone who joined us in the chat. Big shout out again to the Edict Beer Wargamers Unification Group and the Chilling Network, both of which we're a part of, and absolutely love both of those organizations, both of those hobby families that we're a part of. Really great to see you guys. And you guys came in absolutely clutch today, helping get Kaiser over the 900 mark. So that's amazing. Shout out to Kaiser, Johnny B, Clueless Mike, James Workshop, the entire Modeling for Advantage team.
Good guys there.
Congratulations, guys. At this point, it's my closing of the show where I shout out and thank our patrons. So if any of you are listening on speakers or if you got earbuds in your ears, I get a little excited. I apologize in advance. But I do like to wrap up by thanking each of our patrons who contribute every month and help keep things running. And we're going to start now with thanking Brother Bloodclaw, Heinrich Botha.
Heinrich.
Bloodclaw, Running Bear.
He's running, chased by a bear. Oh, wait.
Bloodclaw, Richard at the Nerd Life.
He's a big, lovable nerd.
Bloodclaw, Big Mac Danskull.
He's big and drives a mech.
Bloodclaw, Brian, the Mini War Mutt.
Is he a doggy?
Bloodclaw, Big D at the Gamecraft Dragon.
Because he's got a big D.
Bloodclaw, Chief, Live Gaming.
He is the chief.
Bloodclaw, Inquisitor Zane.
Crazy Zane.
Bloodclaw, Brother Roxas.
IT Master.
Bloodclaw, Grey Hunter, Zack the Crimson Painter.
Everything red.
Wolfguard, Kalo.
Dropping trowel, baby.
The Smash Captain of the Gamecraft Dragon, Wolfguard, Commodore.
And not the 80s computer.
And we have the very mysterious Ultimate Wolf Lord, Anonymous.
He's standing behind you.
Love that guy.
The Ultimate Wolf Lord, Meeks.
Meeks, clap them cheeks.
And the Ultimate Wolf Lord, Archer.
Smash, Captain.
Guys, whether you're hanging out with us on a Saturday afternoon or a Friday night, or whether you're helping out on Patreon, we just appreciate all the love and support you guys have shown us. And again, thank you guys all so much for helping us get past 700 subs ourselves, for helping Modeling for Advantage get over 900 subs. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So cool.
We really appreciate hanging out with you guys this afternoon. If you guys like today's episode, please make sure that you grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below if you're watching from the archives, and be feel free to be part of any of these ridiculous conversations. And if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, then the Freakaliciousness and I would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist. Until next time, guys. Stay frosty.